This is legitimately terrifying for the rest of the league, as not only did Dylan Harper show out offensively and Carter Bryant show out defensively, but the level of their dominance combined with what the Spurs are lined up to do next season makes this straight up the most terrifying team to play against. If you're an offensive player heading into next season, we have to break down exactly the stuff Carter Bryant did, what Dylan Harper was doing on the defensive side of the ball that hasn't been getting as much attention as it should, the Spurs depth chart, and just why this team looks legitimately scary heading into next year. We got a lot of stuff to break down on this episode of Spurs Digest, but hey, quick reminder, guys, we are getting very, very, very close to our goal of 9,000. We're less than 200 subs away. You guys have been supporting like crazy. I'm seeing all the love in the comment section. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning in. And we're just going to get straight into it here. And I want to start with Dylan Harper's defense. And Eric Salinas has really loved what I'm seeing from Dylan defensively. He's going to be a positive asset on that end as well. And, you know, before I dive into the whole Spurs depth chart, because there's a lot of stuff I got to get into in a bit, I want to take a little focus on Dylan Harper and his outstanding performance on defense. Because look, we played the offensive clips yesterday. Obviously, the big block was one of the main highlights of the entire game, of the entire day of Summer League, of all of Summer League so far, of the entire year. No, maybe that's pushing it a bit, but for me, it kind of was. Dylan Harper, watching him has been an absolute joy. But I wanted to put a focus on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I grabbed a couple highlights here. This is the possession where him and Carter Bryant both went together for that full 24 seconds, along with this insane block. Because, look, guard defense is something the Spurs are very well versed in right now, right? And Dylan Harper being able to lock up this much changes a lot, because look, we know Stephon Castle's level of defense is absolutely incredible, right? We also tend to forget sometimes that Devin Vassell was touted as an incredible defender coming into the NBA out of college. Like, he looked really, really good. And if you go back and you watch Devin Vassell defensively, the dude still has a ton of hustle. He still makes a ton of great defensive plays. His foot speed wasn't really there this year, which was a big problem, but I'm convinced that a fully healthy Devin Vassell is going to look really, really, really good on defense. And when you look at this depth chart, again, I'm going to save the whole team thing for a little bit later, because I want to really dive into that, because I have a couple other points to make on that front. But if we're just straight up talking guard defense, De'Aaron Fox, I believe, led the league in steals one year. Now, I know that doesn't mean he's a great on-ball defender, but he can force turnovers. That's one thing he's really good at. He is incredibly quick. He reads passing lanes pretty well and is able to do that at least. Like, you know, point of attack defense is not necessarily, you know, highest tier, but he's more than serviceable on the defensive end. Dylan Harper, again, we watch these highlights, right? The getting past these guys in the half court, not even just the half court, in the full court. Like, Dylan Harper can do this, and especially coming into the league this year, if you have him full court pressing, you can have Stephon Castle doing this as well. How are other teams going to have the energy to come down and score on offense if you're doing that every single possession? Because you can afford to, because of the guard depth that San Antonio has. Even a guy like Jordan McLaughlin is like a good energy guy, right? All these guys can come at you, jump the passing lane any single second. Champagny is like, you know, maybe not touted super highly for his defense, but it's still not bad either. So when I'm talking about guard depth and defense, this to me, because we focus so much on the forwards, right? The Carter Bryant, Jeremy Sochan, Victor Wembanyama, and I'll get into them in a minute for sure. But especially if Devin Vassell is going to get guard minutes this year, Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, that is dangerous, right? It's making the pick and rolls a lot harder to navigate for the other team, which is one of the most common plays in basketball, obviously, but the pick and roll has been used so much. Every single good team pretty much uses a lot of pick and roll, and if you're a team that's 1, switchable, 2, very quick, 3, very good at pressuring the ball, not only in the half court, but in the full court, you're going to make navigating these pick and rolls incredibly difficult. And that's what I really, really like about this Spurs team right now. And already the communication from Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper. But I'm going to get into that more now when I talk a bit about Carter Bryant, because I saw this from Point Made Basketball. They said Carter Bryant looks like he's guarding all 5 guys at the same time because he has his fingerprints all over the game on the defensive end. And look, that's absolutely true. That other stat I'm going to save for a bit. Because Carter Bryant's defense, look, we'll just let these roll, sit back, bask in the glory that is Carter Bryant defense. I don't actually have the clip go all the way to where he forces the turnover because we've seen it, but I want to get as much as I can in here. Like, I understand the offensive side of the ball looks rough for Carter Bryant right now, but the defense, again, the switch ability that he has, the smarts here to double, to know how much time's left on the shot clock, when to pinch down, when to double off, when to make these reads, and when we watch him navigate pick and rolls, even here, he didn't even go through it. Now that was more on Cooper Flagg for not going all the way through, but Carter Bryant knows exactly when to switch. That play with Dylan Harper as well, this one here, where at the end of the play it cuts off, but you can see Dylan Harper's locking up, Carter Bryant's man comes down, sets a screen, they immediately switch, and Carter Bryant jumps it perfectly. And that's what makes him feel like he's guarding all 5 guys at once, because Carter Bryant doesn't just need to play the defense like man to man. Oh, I understand. Like, oh yeah, I'm athletic, I make good plays. His reads are insane, but his communication, there were people saying, there were clips of Carter Bryant on the sideline shouting out defensive rotations, telling people where to go in summer league, right? This dude's like 18 years old. He is absolutely ridiculous, right? Is he 19? It doesn't matter. He's still a teenager, right? This guy's knowledge on the defensive end, those instincts, that IQ is stuff that you often only see from like these, all defense level guys, these guys that make the all defensive team. And so when you combine Dylan Harper, you combine Carter Bryant, we talked about the defense from Bryant, how good it was yesterday, but this is bringing it all together. And again, you look back at this team and you look at what you have on the floor, it's absolutely insane. I'll dive into that last stat in a minute, but I just want to dive into the mentalities of Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper really quick before I do, because I do have that stat on team defense last year and how I think it'll change. But Dylan Harper himself was like, look, you look at the roster top to bottom, I think we can compete with anyone in the league. We're having that mindset. Kornet and Kelly are 2 great pickups. We're just going to keep stacking days. And, for him to have that mindset right after that win, I mean, great, obviously, but he's very right. Like, he looks at this team, Dylan Harper, who looked so smooth, who looked absolutely filthy in transition, had that insane block, that great man-to-man defense. This guy's our backup, right? He's our backup. He's going to be our 3rd guy handling the ball, right? Because Stephon Castle, I assume, is going to still get a lot of minutes handling the ball, especially as Dylan Harper's young, and I wouldn't expect anything else. This attitude's amazing, and again, it's not like we need him to come in and be the best player, but he went toe-to-toe with Cooper Flagg. Obviously, Flagg had an incredible game. I'm not going to sit here and claim Harper was clearly the superior player, because I think that would be misleading. I don't think that's genuine, but still, crazy to have this. And Carter Bryant, too, talking about guarding Cooper Flagg, I just try to keep a level head, try to keep an even mentality towards everything, but I mean, he's a hell of a player. You want to compete against the best in the world, so him being number 1 in the draft is an opportunity to measure up and compete, and that's what I love. These guys are locked in. Harper's like, I know we can compete against anyone. Carter Bryant is, I can measure up and compete. It's all about competition. And when you look at this team, again, top to bottom, I look at, not only just the starting 5, but, this is basically a great wall. Because you have Wemby and Kornet. No matter what guards you have on the floor to guard that point of attack defense, you have 2 elite rim protectors down there. And can you classify Kornet as an elite rim protector? He protects the rim even on 3-point shots. So to me, he's an elite rim protector. Take it up with me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Wembanyama and Kornet are there to block shots. When you're talking about maybe switching screens, you can have Sochan guarding whoever, right? Wemby's fine at switching screens. You might do some drop coverage. You might do some stuff. But a lot of our guards are still good at navigating screens. So it's going to make it harder, right? And then, no, even though you have Wemby and Kornet behind you, you have to get through everyone else first. You try and do a 1-4 pick and roll, like I said, Jeremy Sochan, Keldon Johnson, Carter Bryant, whoever it is, they are getting around that screen, they're switching, they're hedging, and they are swarming you no matter what because of their athleticism, their pure defensive instincts. These guys know how to do it. And then whoever's guarding the ball, whether it's Fox, Castle, Harper, even Vassell, these guys are going to make it incredibly tough to get up the floor. So for a whole team to do this throughout a whole game, this is going to exhaust the other team. And not only will it lead to great defensive possessions, it'll lead to the other team being more tired on defense. And I wanted to bring this up because I don't want to say I was surprised, because obviously we missed a lot of time Wemby missed a lot of time, Fox missed a lot of time. But you look at the defensive rating last year, there were only 5 teams in the league worse than the Spurs in terms of defensive rating, right? You had the Jazz, Pelicans, Wizards, Suns, and Sixers. Now, part of that is because of the fast pace that San Antonio plays, and I don't necessarily expect that to change very much, especially with a lot of our guards who thrive in transition, like Dylan Harper, like De'Aaron Fox. These guys are menaces specifically in transition. They're great at other aspects, but we saw it from Harper, we've seen it for years with Fox. I don't anticipate the game slowing down very much, especially with the way Mitch Johnson likes to run the offense, but The defensive rating too, like that's a lot of that's because Wemby missed a lot of time. That's just points against per 100 possessions. And I'm looking at this, and I'm seriously saying, like, if you don't have any guys that miss a ton of time, that defensive rating is going to drop so much, and drop is a good thing, obviously, for defensive rating because you're giving up fewer points. That thing's going to drop and drop and drop because even just like a 2.3, 4-point drop is going to shoot you way higher up in the rankings for defensive rating. And that's not the only thing to measure when you're talking about defense, but the fact that we have so many guys that can pressure the ball, so many guys that can make high IQ plays to make the other team question their decision making, the more turnovers that we force, the way better this team's going to be. Shooting is going to be a problem, but I genuinely think that the transition points that the San Antonio Spurs will generate this year with their smothering defense, especially as other teams are going to get used to what we actually can do, the transition points are going to come fast, they're going to come furious, and that's what's going to separate our offense as well. The half-court offense is going to be there. We have incredible talent. Obviously, we have Wemby, who's going to be one of the best players on the planet. We have De'Aaron Fox, who's great at generating offense. We have other supporting guys, right? But that transition game, I'm scared for other teams, man. This is a terrifying team to look at. I'm super excited to see what's coming this year. Leave your thoughts on all this down below. The defense wins championships, baby. We've heard it time and time again. I think we're about ready to get back to the beautiful game. But listen, that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. Maybe I'm setting my goals too high. Maybe I'm setting them just right. You let me know down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button. 70% of you still haven't done it. We're getting close to our 10,000 goal before the start of next season. And I know if you guys continue to show up every single day, we'll hit that sooner rather than later. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you all in the next one.